Arden Vale did not believe in coincidence. Not in politics, not in business, and certainly not in assignments requested by name. When the formal request had appeared on her desk the previous night, Arden had read it once, then again more slowly. Client, Seraphine Laurent. Request, Captain Arden Vale, personal assignment. No alternatives. No negotiation. Just her. Arden leaned back slightly in her chair, studying the digital file glowing on the screen. People like Seraphine Laurent did not make decisions lightly. The woman was the youngest CEO in the country and one of the most powerful omegas in international corporate politics. Every move she made was measured, deliberate, and precise. Which meant this request had a purpose. Reputation. Optics. Leverage. Arden closed the file. Emotion never factored into decisions like these. And that suited her perfectly. Emotion complicated the perimeter. 0600. The headquarters building still slept when Arden arrived. The sky above the city was pale steel, dawn only beginning to creep over the skyline. Traffic had not yet reached its morning roar. Even the wind seemed quieter at this hour. Arden entered through the staff access corridor without announcing herself. Security review came first. Always. Her boots moved silently along polished floors as she began a slow inspection. Entrances. Emergency stairwells. Camera blind spots. Elevator override panels. She checked every system twice, memorizing not just the layout but the rhythm of the building. Buildings had patterns. People had habits. And habits created weaknesses. Laurent headquarters was beautiful, elegant glass architecture, pristine marble floors, security systems advanced enough to impress most contractors. But beauty did not equal safety. Not yet. Arden reached the lobby balcony and looked down across the vast atrium. Employees would arrive soon. Executives. Assistants. Board members. Potential threats. Her gaze moved calmly across every visible angle. By 07:42, she knew every security weakness in the building. By 07:50, most of them had already been corrected. By 08:00, the building belonged to her. 08:00. The lobby doors slid open. Seraphine Laurent entered. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Arden had worked protection for heads of state and military leaders before, but few people carried presence the way Seraphine did. She wore ivory, a structured suit tailored perfectly to her slender frame. The fabric caught the morning light like polished porcelain. Her platinum hair fell down her back in a smooth cascade, almost luminous against the neutral tones of the lobby. Her heels struck the marble floor with quiet precision. Not hurried, not hesitant, just certain. Employees who passed lowered their heads slightly in greeting. No one spoke unless she addressed them. She acknowledged each person with the smallest inclination of her head. Never smiling, never breaking stride. Seraphine Laurent moved like the world already belonged to her. Arden stepped into position behind her. 2 steps. Not 1. Not 3. 2. Close enough to intercept. Far enough to remain untouched. No one looked at Arden. That was correct. Protection worked best when it was invisible. But Seraphine noticed. Arden could feel it. In the reflection of the lobby glass. In the mirrored metal of elevator doors. Seraphine's gaze flickered occasionally, not directly at Arden, but at her silhouette behind. It wasn't fear. And it wasn't discomfort. It was awareness. Like she was confirming something. Curious. 08:30 board meeting. The boardroom overlooked the entire financial district. Sunlight poured through the glass walls, reflecting off polished stone tables and sleek monitors. Arden stood near the far wall, motionless. 3 hours passed. Trade negotiations. Infrastructure expansion. Foreign capital restructuring. Most executives rambled. Seraphine did not. She spoke with calm precision, her voice smooth but firm. "You are proposing an increase in import tariffs," one director said. "That risks destabilizing our northern corridor." Seraphine folded her hands neatly on the table. "Only if the corridor remained unstable." The director frowned. "It does." Seraphine tilted her head slightly. "No," she said evenly. "It did." A screen behind her, illuminated with updated data projections. "We secured the transport route last quarter. Trade volume has already increased by 12%. The room went quiet. Seraphine continued calmly. "If you had reviewed the revised files instead of the outdated ones, you would already know that." The director cleared his throat. No one challenged her again. Arden watched from the wall. Not admiration. Recognition. This Omega did not hide behind diplomacy. She dissected people with facts. 11:17. Something shifted. Not visibly. But Arden sensed it immediately. Jasmine. Faint. Barely detectable beneath the sterile scent of suppressants. Stress. Seraphine's scent was controlled, carefully masked, but stress broke through small cracks. Arden stepped forward instinctively. 1 step. Her body halted. 2 steps. Always 2. Seraphine's hand curled slightly against the table. Tension. The meeting adjourned minutes later. The hallway. Seraphine walked ahead as executives dispersed. "You moved." Her voice came without turning around. Arden answered calmly. "Yes." "Why?" "Your stress levels increased." Seraphine slowed. "You can smell that." "Yes." "How unpleasant." "It is." The answer came before Arden filtered it. Seraphine paused half a step. Most alphas reacted strongly to Omega scent changes. Some aggressively. Some poorly. She glanced at Arden in the elevator reflection. Most alphas find it distracting. I am not most alphas. Elevator. The doors closed. The enclosed space intensified everything. Seraphine's jasmine scent lingered beneath crisp fabric and filtered air. Arden focused on corners. Angles. Ceiling vents. "You don't like elevators," Seraphine said. "I have no preference. You scan more in confined spaces." "That is protocol." Seraphine watched her reflection. "And what is your protocol for conversation, Captain?" "There isn't one." That explains a great deal. A quiet pause passed between them. Then Seraphine asked softly, "What do you observe about me?" Arden hesitated. No client had ever asked her that before. "You regulate your breathing before answering difficult questions," Arden said. Seraphine's eyebrow lifted slightly. "You deflect emotional provocation with data," Arden continued, "and you carry tension in your right hand." Seraphine instinctively looked down. Her fingers had curled again. "You noticed that within hours?" "Yes." The elevator descended slowly. "Do I look fragile to you?" Arden turned fully toward her. Studied her posture. Her composure. The way she held herself like a fortress. "No." Seraphine waited. "You look targeted." Something flickered in her expression. Relief. Not because she appeared strong, but because someone finally saw the danger. 1942 lockdown. A threat alert triggered building lockdown that evening. False alarm. But protocol required full containment. Seraphine's office lights dimmed automatically. The city glittered outside the glass walls like scattered stars. Arden stood near the entrance. Seraphine removed her heels and placed them neatly beside her desk. Her bare feet touched the cool floor. Unexpectedly human. You never sit, Seraphine said. During lockdown, no. That sounds exhausting. It is manageable. Seraphine walked toward the window. Moonlight traced the edge of her profile. You don't speak unless spoken to. That is efficient. I dislike efficiency. Arden blinked. Why? Seraphine looked out over the city. Because efficiency removes the part where people reveal themselves. Silence filled the room. Then Seraphine asked quietly, Do you ever get tired? Yes. Of what? Arden answered after a moment. Of people assuming protection is easy. Seraphine turned slowly. That day wasn't easy either. Arden's attention sharpened. What day? Seraphine's expression closed instantly. Nothing. Arden didn't push. But the answer lingered. Residence corridor. Later that night, they walked toward the private residence wing. The lighting dimmed automatically as they passed. Seraphine stopped at her door. Captain Vale. Yes, ma'am. If I had known you before. She hesitated. Would you remember? Arden considered. If we had met, she said slowly, I would remember. Seraphine studied her face carefully. You didn't, she said. The door slid open. She stepped inside. But before it closed, she said softly, You always stood 2 steps behind me. The door sealed. Arden remained in the corridor. 2 steps behind. The words echoed in her mind. And suddenly, rain, smoke, weight in her arms, a trembling voice whispering, Please don't let go. The memory fractured before it could fully form. Arden exhaled slowly. Professional distance. That was the rule. But this assignment didn't feel like the beginning. It felt like something interrupted. Inside the room, Seraphine leaned against the door after it closed. Her composure cracked for exactly 1 second. She doesn't remember, she whispered. Her hand pressed against her chest. Years ago. Smoke. Collapsed steel. A young alpha carrying her through chaos. Seraphine closed her eyes. She carried me. Not because she was weak. Because she couldn't move. And no one else had come. She inhaled slowly. This time would be different. This time, she would choose the distance. And slowly, she would make her step closer.